So, we just finished the water level, the Swamp Palace, and now we're headed off to Thieves Town. And no, I didn't screw up in capturing the footage, and no, you didn't miss an episode. I know those of you who are very familiar with this game know that actually the Skull Palace in the woods would be the third castle after the Swamp Palace. I found out that if you can do the palaces out of order, especially now that I've got the hook shot, and I can go to the other half of the Dark World with the hook shot. But if you go to Palace 4, the Thieves Palace, the Thieves Town first, you can get the more powerful Power Glove, and you can get your Tempered Sword. And that's the third level sword. That's more powerful than your Master Sword. And it actually makes going through the third castle that much easier. I don't really consider it cheating. It's just kind of a tactical skill in the game. I'm not using any kind of cheat codes or anything to do it. So why the hell not? But yeah, you can actually do some of the castles out of order and get some of the more powerful items earlier in the game, and then go back to the earlier castles and defeat them a lot easier. So, that being said, I just maximized my 50 bombs and 70 arrows, and it's a lot easier to do this throughout the game than in one sitting. You have to go back and forth to get your rupees, and it probably takes around 11 or 1200 rupees total to totally maximize your bombs and arrows. Anyway, that's enough of that useless bullshit. Let's go kill some things. Hi-ho, off to kill purple soldiers I go. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I'll run away. Lovely singing voice, by the way. It's so funny today that modern-day gamers from, the Y generation, so that would be, the Z generation. I just call them the annoying, whiny generation. But it's so funny how games today get criticized for their realism. If a game is not realistic enough or realistic looking enough, it gets criticized. I was playing Duke Nukem Forever when it first came out, and I don't play modern games that much. So really, I can play any game on like the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360. And I know PS4 and Xbox just came out, so I'm already outdating myself a little bit. But the games will look good. Even if the game is 6 years old, it'll still look good to me because I'm used to PlayStation N64 graphics. So I remember playing Duke Nukem Forever, which totally got trashed when that game came out. And if you know what to expect, it was a great game, I feel. I wasn't expecting Call of Duty. I was expecting Duke Nukem, and that's what I got. But I just remember a lot of the reviews were just bashing the crap out of it, and they were saying it's a really bad, muddy-looking game, and I had no idea what they meant. But they were talking about, the textures not look... when the hell did gamers, really care about what textures looked like and things? It's just... It blows my mind that people today just can't play games without criticizing how they look. And to me, this is a perfectly acceptable-looking game. This game, to me, is... much more pretty to look at, I think, than a lot of the modern-day games, because this actually looks like a video game. It doesn't look like an interactive DreamWorks movie, which a lot of games today, not only do they look really good, but they make you sit through these really long, drawn-out story sequences sometimes. I think just in the last couple of years, games started to... they started to interweave the gameplay with the cinematics a little better. A good example, one of my favorite games actually, and I'm really surprised that I got into this game the way I did, but Grand Theft Auto 5, which is actually the first Grand Theft Auto game that I actually sat down and actually played. I've seen people play the earlier ones, but GTA 5 I got really hooked, and if you've played the game, you'll understand why. But that was a great game that integrated the storyline into the gameplay. So you weren't just sitting there watching things happen. The story was actually unraveling as you played it. You didn't sit there and watch an hour cutscene. And games are getting much better at doing that, but I think just I could be wrong, because again, I don't keep up with it. But I think just in the last couple of years, games have really started to get better at doing that without having you sit there and watch a cutscene. They're integrating the storyline into the game. Another example in GTA 5 is when you're just driving around randomly to your other missions, your characters will actually have these story-driven conversations with each other, but they're happening while you're playing the game. And that's something, I mean, that's a way to get me, to get people like me who've been kind of out of gaming for a while back into games, is keep it interactive. And that's what was so great about these earlier games. No one really cared about the storyline, in all honesty. I mean, this was the first, at this time, this was only the third Zelda game, but the only story you were given was maybe a brief paragraph at the beginning. Even in this game, there's maybe a brief, 2-3 minute intro that kind of gives you the backstory, and that was a lot for, the Zelda games didn't really have these big drawn out stories. What you got was in the instruction manual. That was your story, but aside from rescuing Princess Zelda for the umpteenth time, it was all about finding the different treasures and, enhancing your equipment and all that stuff. So that's what really made a lot of these games really fun to play. I mean, ask any gamer, Mario, Metroid. The reason why these games are so big and so popular is because they made them fun to play. The story comes second, and for the longest time with these, the last generation of games, it was almost like they were more interested in giving us a story. I mean, there are games like Metal Gear Solid is a good example of, they give you, I think, more movie than they do actual game. It kind of harkens back to, in the early 80s, you had games like Dragon's Lair, which is actually one of my favorite games. I've downloaded it so many times for like all my different phones. But that was a game where there wasn't a lot of gameplay. The point of that game was to basically watch the movie, and you'd push a button to make the character go a certain direction at a certain time, but there wasn't a lot of interactivity. And that's kind of what games were becoming for a while, and why I got out of it for a while. The more realistic the games got, I know a lot of people like to pretend they're stealth assassins or they're actually going to war, like in the Call of Duty games, but after a while, to me, it wasn't fun anymore. So, I mean, I can watch people play this game, and it's just fun watching them. So anyway, after getting rupees and all this stuff, I've got my hookshot, and like I said, this is one of the best weapons in the game. I can actually go across this river here, and now I can access the other part of the Dark World. Going. I've played this game so many times. You don't have to get 100% in this game. Like, there are certain items you don't need in this game to beat it, like the invisible cape, which is where I'm going right now, I believe. I forget what's... Sometimes I know there's items here, but I forget exactly what items they are. It's easy to do. Even though this isn't it's really not a big game, but the way it's designed, it feels like it is. There's so many places for treasures and heart containers and all this other stuff. Like I said before also, I think I've said I'd rather have a game be fun than challenging. I'd rather have a game be easy and just have a lot of fun playing it than I would having a game be frustrating and challenge. Challenge is fine, but like this game here, one of the things, the original Zelda games on Nintendo, sometimes some of those secrets were really cryptic and you couldn't find them. You would never find them unless you read Nintendo Power or something. There was no internet. So this game made it a little easier. They kind of hint where all the, if there's a crack in the wall, you put a bomb there. And it wasn't really that cryptic. So it was pretty easy to find a lot of these things, but still, you had to be paying attention. You had to notice the cracks in the wall and things. So there I go. I found the magic cape. I really don't use it that much, but it really helps you in certain areas, especially when you go fight Ganon. The magic cape comes in handy. But it takes a lot of magic power. See how I did that? You have to be standing at certain exact spots in the Dark World so that when you resurface in the Light World, you can get to areas that you couldn't get before. And that was another innovation of this game. It wasn't just traveling from Dark World to Light World, but there were certain things in either world that affected each other. So there are certain areas that, like in the light world, you could never get to without taking advantage of your location in the dark world. And that was kind of the same thing in Ocarina of Time, even though that's not one of my favorite Zelda games. It wasn't just traveling into time to become Adult Link, but you could actually switch between both worlds, I believe, and do certain things depending on where you were, either in the past or in the future. This is that heart piece up there. This is one example of where you would need to use the cape to get that heart piece. So like I said, I like to get 100%. I'm going for everything. Hopefully by the end of this Let's Play, I will have all 20 heart pieces and every piece of equipment in the game. See? Use my hook shot to get over there. The hook shot is awesome. I love using it just to get to places. And it's a good weapon, too. It kills a lot of enemies. And look at that. But that cape drains your health really fast. In, like, seconds. The other thing that pisses me off when you first get to the Dark World, everything takes, like, 3 hearts. It's unfair. Till you get some of your you get enhancements in your armor. They're called mail. And basically your suit changes colors. There's, I think, a blue one and a red one. And then you don't take as much damage. Kill these guys. The AI in both Light World and Dark Worlds are both just as ridiculous. They're pretty easy. But like I said, they're really fun. You have to give, and the programmers know this, you have to give the player satisfaction when you kill something. There are so many games out there that the hit detection is off, or it's just, you don't get the satisfaction of the kill. A lot of RPGs are like that too, especially a lot of those early like Nintendo ones. You never actually saw the enemy die, or you have to give them that little puff of smoke or that little sound effect, and this game did it perfectly. All the Zelda games had great sound effects, but this one just steals the cake. Takes the cake. I'm sorry. This one takes the cake. You don't steal a cake. I think I'm a freaking foreigner or something. Like I said, if it notices me and it comes after me, I kill it. And I'm at full health again. I gotta admit, I do like the sound of your zapper, your little thing that you shoot out. I like the sound of that better in the Nintendo games. And they use that exact sound in the cartoon. There was a Legend of Zelda cartoon for years. It wasn't really as bad as the Super Mario Brothers cartoon. It was still pretty hokey. And I never figured out how to get in that house. Is that just a glitch or something? Is that like an unfinished part of the game? We'll never know, because I'm not going there. So finally we get to go to the Dark World, basically Kakariko Town in Hell. Nothing in here but thieves. There's a little thief bastard in here that comes after you and tries to steal all your shit. That guy right there. You can kiss my ass. This is the best weapon because it turns little post into boobs. Oh yeah, this also has one of the more annoying heart pieces. For some reason though, it's easier in this one than it is the other one where you're, in the other one, in the last episode, there was a heart piece where you had to dig all those holes. There's a house in this village here that has another thing. You have to pick through all these treasure chests, but I don't think it costs as much and it's a lot easier to find it. Okay, so here's a secret. First I gotta get my boob. Oh, that doesn't turn into a boob. Okay. So this is kind of a weird secret. This is one of the weirdest secrets in the game. You go in here. I think it's up north here. Yep. And what you do here is you sprinkle your magic powder on this pair of hands or whatever, and this creature comes, and he threatens to take away half your magic meter because you woke him up. So you do this, and what this actually does is it doubles your magic meter, even though he says it takes away half, and it says 1/2 at the top of your magic meter on the top left there. It actually doubles it, so that's really good to get, but it's really misleading at first because it doesn't look like it doubles it at all. What else can I do here? Nothing yet, I don't think. I'm going to go back into the Dark World here. I remember somewhere in here there's a treasure chest that you really want because it's got the 4th empty jar in there. That comes in handy later on. You want all 4 jars. Yeah, this little thief bastard, get the hell away from me. I will stab you in the neck with a pencil if you touch me. Because he runs into you and he steals, like, a bunch of bombs and rupees and, like, everything. Like, your box of condoms that you were reserving for Zelda, but you never get to use because she never wants to give you the hero's tribute that you deserve. Just, he steals all kinds of shit, like your lunch for the day, your lunch money, your milk. It's not good. The trees in this game are complete assholes too. They're always telling you to get out of your way, get out of their way and stuff, like they've got something better to do. This is sweet. I like that treasure chest in the corner there. Yep, 300 rupees. What pisses me off is a lot of the times I forget about that, and I'll come in with 999 rupees, which is the most amount of rupees you can have, and I'll get that treasure chest, and it doesn't do anything because I already have full rupees. You know, that would come in really handy when I'm off, like, trying to get the flippers or something, because the flippers are 500 rupees, so you find a treasure chest like that, and it's like you don't have to go looking for rupees for half an hour. I think this is another one. Yeah, I'm not going to bother getting it. This is just a really bad feeling town, though. You just feel like there's just crap, like, hidden that you're not supposed to see. I think this is the house I was talking about. Yeah, see, in one of these chests, there's a heart container, and every time you got to pay this guy 30 rupees. Oh, first try! That never happens. Usually I can find the heart piece a lot quicker in here, probably because there's not as many places. Like in the digging one, there's literally like 100 different spots it could be. Nope, nothing down here. Go back up. That little frog dude's funny. That's how I get your how you get your tempered sword, though. You can't get it till after you get the power glove, which is in the Thieves town, which I'm going to right now. So you go here, you pull that thing out, and you go in that little, I guess he's a jackrabbit or something. This is a pretty cool castle, too. But this is where it starts to get a little difficult because it's a big maze. This one is one of the more difficult ones to navigate through. Got my useless map, and then you've got these guys that just throw fireballs at you. What's kind of neat about this room I'm in, though, is you never know when you go under these bridges to the next screen. You never know where it's going to take you, and that's where it gets kind of confusing. That might be the compass right there. Yeah, bonehead. Tasty pick, bonehead. For all you Ghostbusters 2 enthusiasts, there aren't many of you. And these things suck too. I don't know if I've run into them in the other castles, but they touch you and you turn into a rabbit. Even though you have the moon pearl, I don't think that's fair. I think if you have the moon pearl, you shouldn't turn into a rabbit ever. But those things touch you and you turn into a little stupid defenseless rabbit. And I don't know if it's true, but when you turn into a rabbit in this game, I've heard that there are ways to turn into other things in the game. I've never seen it. I've never seen any other version other than the rabbit. But, like, back in the day, I heard it was possible to turn into, like, other animals if you were in the dark world without the moon pearl or whatever. Yeah, like right there. Thanks. Thanks a lot. This does nothing for me. Just makes me feel really bad. I'm telling you, those fireball things look very similar of the rotating fire chains in Bowser's Palace in the original Super Mario Brothers. Well, they're both Nintendo games, so why not? But I am so lost right now, I have no idea where I'm going. Because eventually, when you're downstairs here, you run into a dead end, so then you've got to go back upstairs, go around these little bridges, and get to the other side, and that's where I always get confused. Like, I have no idea where I would... This is where the map, I guess, would come in handy. But I never used the map. Screw that. Okay, I've got to get to that treasure chest, and this was where it was really hard. Oh, there we go. Now, I think that might be the master key. No, it's the stupid compass. Stupid. I've been talking for too long. Is that the master key? Yes. Okay. Once you get the master key, you can go upstairs and find the big door. The boss in this castle is pretty unique too, and I'll show you how to get to him/her, but it's pretty sweet what you have to do. Now, earlier in the game, I don't think I talked to the guy, but there's a guy at the very beginning of the game that tells you about Blind the Thief, who is actually the boss of this game, of this castle, this game. Yeah, real threatening villain for a franchise. Hi, I'm Blind the Thief. I'm here to take your wares. Got a key. Now I'm on my way to find the power glove before Freddy Krueger gets it. And these little skeleton things with the red that thing that's floating around right there, I hate them. They're annoying. But if you catch them, you can turn them into fairies and recover your health. So that's always a good thing. Like there. Okay. Oh. Sometimes they make it just nearly impossible to hit these guys. Oh, nice. Key. I'm thinking if I don't hit this pink thing, I'm going to be in trouble later on. Yeah, because I think the switch to that door is down there. And a little bunny turner thing. Thanks. Even the fairy doesn't care. Fairy's like, you're a rabbit, dude. I ain't doing shit for you. Alright, let's go get killed. Ugh! Alright. Now, this is the one point in the game where whenever you get a bomb, it tells you remember to push A to pick up a bomb you've already placed. This is one of those, like, the only time in the game where that comes in handy. Pick up a bomb you placed. Now, Blind, as you find out earlier in the game, is afraid of sunlight. So just bear with me here. You take that bomb, you throw it over there, and it blasts a hole in the floor. Now there's sunlight pouring down into the main enemy's dungeon. Now, the main boss isn't down there yet. You have to go find him somewhere else. And it's really interesting how they do that. Alright. Death trap. Down we go. Sweetness. In the later Zelda games, my god, these dungeons take so long to finish. Like, that's why I don't play the newer Zelda games. They're just so big and epic in scale, and I do think, honestly, that you can make a game way too long. Twilight Princess, it took me a year to beat. My total time for beating that game, and without getting 100%, mind you, was about 70 hours. This game, in comparison, I can probably beat the whole thing with all the items in about 5 hours, maybe about 6 hours. I've done it actually before in one sitting. I can beat it in 6 hours. So 6 hours to 70 hours. I mean, literally, I don't have 70 hours to dedicate to gameplay. So it took me about a little over a year to beat Twilight Princess. And those dungeons are huge. Friggin' huge. I mean, one dungeon, you could probably fit 900 Super Mario Brothers cartridges. Maybe even more. It was ridiculous how big those dungeons were. These dungeons are all really fun. And at the beginning, like, the fifth palace, which is the Ice Palace, that's probably the hardest one to navigate. Well, here's a room that doesn't do anything for you. It's really annoying, too, when you find a locked door and you have no idea where the key is. You know eventually you'll find it, but... And once again, like, when you got the Titus mitt the first time, or the power glove, whatever. I think this one here is called the Titus mitt. It was sweet because you could do so much more in the game. You could lift up rocks and stuff, and that's what getting this glove is like. You run through the game and you have all these really dark black blocks you can't pick up. Now, after this palace, you'll be able to pick those blocks up, and you can do a lot more. So that's awesome. Okay, so you think this is one of the maidens that you're supposed to rescue. You know how at the end of each castle there's a maiden stuck in crystal? That's who you think this would be, right? Well, remember, blind is a little bit of a master of deception, and you just remember that room that I just put the sunlight down. That's where I'm taking her, and she asks to be taken outside, which is funny. So yeah, I've got the Titus mitt, which is sweet. It's gold. We love gold. Anything that shimmers or glistens in these games or sparkles, we like. Whoa! Didn't like that too much. So now all we got to do is find our way to the main enemies, the boss's room, which is that first quarter we were down when we got out of that maze of rooms where I got the master key. Going through this door here, and there's my little beam of sunlight where I dropped my bomb down. And watch this.
Yeah, too bright.
And it's a troll wearing a bedsheet. Not a really threatening boss. Probably one of the least memorable bosses in the game. Oh crap, I don't even have my potions. That sucks. Probably should have done that before I got into this castle here. He's not a really hard boss. It does get kind of frantic though, because every few hits he has another head that comes up, and at the end you have 3 heads spitting fireballs at you while he's going around spitting lasers at you. So there you go. Second head. Thank God for my fire shield. Yeah, it gets pretty frantic here. It's just crap flying everywhere. Get another fairy. Help me, fairy! Uh-oh, there we go. I think I'm good. Oh. And every time he hits you, a couple of hearts. Well, maybe not. I'm doing pretty good here. Oh. Oh, this sucks. I might die. Don't die. Come on. There we go. Not too tough. But it was a pretty unique idea to take the girl into the sunlight and have her transform into the boss. Now that's the real maiden in there, so she can give you just another plethora of useless story information. And that's what I was saying, like, this game, it just kind of repeats the story over and over because there really isn't that much of a story to begin with. It's all about the fun gameplay. It's about the quest. Because of you, I can escape from the clutches of the evil monsters. I think they all start out like that. I'm going to have to watch some of these earlier ones. But, yeah. Knights of Hyrule were nearly wiped out in that battle. What battle? Carrying the bloodline of the knights. Yeah. Do I understand? No, not at all. Repeat the same crap. So, that was technically level 4. The Thieves Town. And next time we'll go play the Skull Palace in the Woods, level 3. And we'll also show you how to get the Tempered Sword, which will make it a lot easier. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.